What it do? Stay blessed, you say less. This is your boy BLK Finesse. We're here with another video again. And today, right now, we are here to watch Madden 23, 5 things that won't work anymore. I play Madden like it's a religion, bro. So I want to see the new things that's going on with Madden because I am tired of the meta. Like, the meta needs to switch. I really hope that they don't abuse the abilities and stuff like that, like inside stuff or route tech. Route tech ain't bad because there are some players who are realistically doing that. But you got what I say, inside stuff that's like worth maybe 1 or 2, and your entire D line's running through the line like that is crazy, bro. And then you got people running crossing routes, but I think they said something about the zones is going to be switching and stuff like that, so the DBs aren't acting clueless anymore. All right, but let's check it out.
When Madden 23 drops in just under a month, you're going to find that there's a lot of popular things that worked last year and even years before that will no longer work in Madden 23. There's a lot of popular tactics and glitchy strategies that simply just will not work anymore in Madden 23. So if you're still playing Madden 22, you might want to stop doing these 5 things now, and if you've already stopped playing and are on to Madden 23, don't be surprised when you get the game and some of these old strategies just simply don't work the same
I'm fine with
anymore.
the changes, bro.
Number 1. Popular one-play touchdown plays. Now, if you've played
you.
Madden at all over the years, you will find that there's a lot of ways that people can manipulate the defense with certain route combinations to get what we call one-play touchdowns. This is exactly what it sounds like. You score in one play. It's a deep bomb play. Usually, it'll be with a streak or a deep post. And so,
that's what I'm talking about. Thank you, bro. Because that is my pet peeve. I cannot stand dudes who constantly run crossing routes. Because that's why I'm such a defensive player on Madden right now, because of the fact that people do this right now. I do so many audibles on defense, I don't even care about offense. I may not even be good at offense anymore because I worry about this, bro. They just run outside with a quarterback because they know that the D ends are going to take forever to get off the blocks with the tackles. Technically, that's holding. And then you got them throwing super deep passes, and the DBs aren't even backing up like they're supposed to. Especially, even if it's cover 3, bro. It's like, that's what I'm saying. The DBs will act clueless.
Route combos will confuse some of the deep zones on the play and cause them to leave one of these guys wide open.
Now, why is 2 people on one? Like, look at this, bro.
Play touchdowns in the game, but there's some that have been popular year after year after year, and basically,
y'all see this. I will get mad at the game so much because why the safety ain't even following the dude.
Work the exact same way, sometimes with a minor adjustment or 2, but the whole idea of the play was pretty much the same each year. Well, EA really tackled a lot of those going into Madden 23. It's something they've confirmed that they worked on, and when we played the beta version of the game a month ago, it was true. The deep zones drift a lot smarter this year.
This is why I use the safety.
It was one of the main focuses of the game for EA to make the defense play
wait. You seen that? You seen this?
The games is play smarter. So now they drift to the right areas, they pick up the right receivers more often, and they don't get confused nearly as much. And once the ball's in the air, they react to the ball much quicker, whereas in years past, it would take them a second or 2 sometimes to even start breaking on the ball, whereas now they break a lot more instantly. Now, don't get me wrong, will there be some new ways to draw up one-play touchdowns? Of course there will be, but they're going to be a lot more realistic this time around, whereas in the past, they made no sense at all. You could get the safety or the deep cornerback to focus literally on a running back coming out of the backfield instead of getting into his deep zone assignment, which was just ridiculous. Those types of exploits, from what we've seen and from what EA has said, seem to be pretty much gone. So when you do see a one-play touchdown now, it'll be something that makes sense, like actually putting the deep zones in conflict and making them choose one deep route versus the other, whereas before they would be looking into the backfield or even the other side of the field to a route that wasn't even relevant to the zone assignment they were in. Really quickly, if you're enjoying this video and you don't want to miss out on any of the other important
That's perfect. That's so realistic. That's all I needed. The DB just needed to react better, bro. I could not stand the way people just ran the same play over and over again, bro. Like, I love this. Look at this.
Exclusive gameplay that I'll have very soon. Make sure to subscribe.
It's realistic because the dude's still in the air.
Videos when they
He's going to be still in the air.
We're trying to hit 450,000 subscribers before the release of Madden 23. So if everybody watching just subscribed, we would easily hit that number today. Number 2, rolling out with the quarterback. Now this has really plagued Madden more so over the last few years since the introduction of abilities, and most importantly, the escape artist ability. Quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson and Josh Allen island become harder and harder to defend, because with this escape artist ability, it is very easy for them to roll out and even get past contain assignments. Now, the reason rollouts have been so effective in Madden are not because of one particular thing. Yes, escape artist in itself did make this even better, but even without escape artist, if you had a fast QB, especially in these past couple of years, you could still roll out pretty consistently, because number one, contains were just completely broken. They would rarely actually contain the QB and force them to stay in the pocket. They would take bad rush angles at the QB, so you could basically kind of run backwards with the QB, loop around, and you could get them into a bad pursuit angle where they just did not have a chance to catch you, especially if the speed wasn't as close between the defender and the...
Yeah, because like he's saying, like, the contain was broken. I would anybody who had escape artists or any quarterback that had speed, Josh Allen, like all the quarterbacks he named, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Pat Mahomes, I was always in contain, bro. I would never switch it to option running back or option running back, bro. Like, the way that was set up, the D ends or the linebackers would not break off their tackles. They'll take bad angles, man. Oh my god, bro. It was...
quarterback. You also had instances where even if you didn't contain, the regular pass rush would just kind of ignore the QB. Once you broke the pocket, they would not be smart enough to recognize that you broke the pocket, and instead they would still kind of keep rushing against the offensive lineman instead of trying to at least make an attempt to get after the QB. Well, all of those things that I've just mentioned have been...
Yeah, like even in play action passes, they will literally run up to you and just stop. If there's an open hole and there's an open sack, hit the man, bro.
In Madden 23, EA confirmed it, and once again, the beta version of the game definitely had this on display. For starters, the escape artist ability is no more. It's been moved to an X factor, and it's hard to achieve. And even if you do achieve it, the X factor escape artist itself is not nearly as powerful as it was in years past. The second part of this is they finally made contains play at least respectable. I would say they could still be better than they are, but they at least do a much better job at containing the QB. So if you try to roll out, especially too quickly, they don't take as poor of pursuit angles anymore. They really just try to stay on the edge. They don't take too many steps inside or glitch out and rush the QB as often, so you really have to just try to straight outrun them. And if you have a decent speed at your contain, he'll be able to take a good pursuit angle and make it tough on even guys like Lamar Jackson.
Now that's gonna make it a little difficult because some D ends and some linebackers are in the high 90 speeds, well mid to low 90 speeds. And for example, they had for example, Brady, that overpowered Brady as a golden ticket, and he was like a 95 plus speed. The speed was just so crazy on the outside linebackers and the D ends that they were still able to catch Brady. I'm only just worried about the speed. Like, okay, we can use Josh Allen as an example. He will be like a 94 speed and be a linebacker at just a 90 speed. The 90 speed linebacker is still catching them because behind the line of scrimmage, the quarterbacks are still slow until they pass it.
The other part of this is that they've just made regular pass rush more smart now. Remember before when I said if a QB rolled out, the pass rusher would just continue to rush against the offensive line and wouldn't be aware enough to start chasing the QB? Well, now they do that. If they see the QB breaking the pocket, they will actually disengage from the offensive lineman as they should, and they will immediately start chasing the QB. Just hiking the ball and immediately rolling out with the QB to make plays is not going to be nearly as viable of an option this year. Some plays it'll be there, and when it's there, you can surely take it just as they would in real life, but unlike these last few years, your whole game plan can't be to simply snap the ball, roll out, and then have the entire defense breaking down almost every play. That doesn't work anymore. Number 3, crossing route spam. This is another one that has plagued Madden for as long as I can remember. I mean,
that's what I've been talking about. Crossing route spams. He's going to say the DBs are reacting faster.
Even go back to the PS2 days. Crossing routes have always been one of the best routes in Madden, and truthfully, they're one of the best routes in real life. If you've got a good route runner, a crossing route typically is going to be able to get separation against man, and against zone, there's always going to be a window at some point because a crossing route crosses the entire field. So at some point crossing the field, you're likely going to have a window to fit the pass in if you're pretty accurate. Now, the reason crossers have dominated Madden even more than they do in real life is two things. Number one, the pass rush in Madden, more years than not, is usually pretty tame. You usually have to dial up a crazy blitz to get pressure, whereas a regular 4-man rush doesn't get home as quickly as it would maybe in real life. And then the second part of this is that a lot of zone defenders simply would just not stay in the area they were supposed to. Deep zone zones on the sideline would just keep drifting too far back and would let crossing routes consistently run underneath them every play.
Yeah,
just like we talked about the one-play touchdowns earlier in the video, the same thing kind of happened with crossing routes this year. Do they still work? Yes, they work when they should, when you have the right route combination on the field, but unlike years past, you're not going to be able to just throw the same crossing route underneath a deep zone on the sideline every single play, because what happens now is the deep zones have been completely reworked. They have new drift logic and they break on the ball quicker, like we talked about earlier in the video. So what this means is that a deep zone will no longer just drift back mindlessly in covered grass if it notices a crossing route running underneath it. The only time a deep zone will continue to drift back is if there's a deeper route running into his zone, like a streak route, for example. If there's
see, that does make a lot of sense, but I wonder if they're going to come up with routes where there's crossing routes and then there's deeper crossing routes. But then again, those are technically called the PA crossers. I think people are going to start overusing the PA crossers because you'll notice a crossing route on the inside and a crossing route in the middle and a crossing route far outside. That may be a little bit, but it really just depends on how the DBs react to it, yo.
Or fade route pulling him down the sideline, he's going to notice that a crossing route is coming underneath him, and he will immediately start breaking towards that to try to make a play on the ball. So worst case scenario, you'll get a lot of incomplete passes, but you'll also get the opportunity to intercept the ball. Number 4, spamming the low pass modifier. This one has been super annoying for some years now. It's better some years than it is others, but it has been consistently a very good tactic, especially if you play online. You could hold down the left trigger or the L2 button when throwing to a receiver to throw a low ball pretty much about at his feet, and what this meant was that really the defenders had almost no chance to ever make a play on this, but your receiver would make a play on it perfectly almost every time. And one of the big reasons for this is because when you threw a low ball, it would pretty much never be inaccurate. It would be a perfect pinpoint accurate low pass every single time. But think of in real life, if you were throwing a low ball near someone's feet, the level of difficulty on that throw is pretty high, because if you're a little too high, the defender can make a play on it, and if you were just literally an inch too low, it can hit the ground early.
The level
There's
of
not
difficulty.
a lot of room for error when throwing a low pass in real life, but in Madden, there was really no inaccuracies ever on these types of throws. They were always perfect. Now, a lot of people used curl routes and wheel routes to spam this. Last year, wheel routes was one of the worst tactics we've ever seen. If you threw a low ball wheel route to running backs out of the backfield, or sometimes even tight ends, it would just be almost impossible to defend. If you timed this right, the pass would be pinpoint perfect every single time, and defenders would have zero chance to make a play on this. You could dumb out the defense with these low passes every time, whether they were playing man defense or they were playing zone. That's not going to work anymore, because the main thing they did is they made
I'm thinking I may have dealt with that a few times.
Now,
I was wondering why wheel routes kept
they're
getting
going to
caught.
maybe be a 50-50, and I would say even less than that. When I played the beta, I would say 3 or 4 out of 10 low passes were accurate, which meant you had about 5 to 6 to 7 inaccurate low passes out of every 10 that you threw. And if they're going to be that inaccurate, they're really not worth throwing, because you're going to get a lot of incomplete passes or potentially a lot of interceptions. Now, the ability to still throw a low ball is there. It just comes with a lot more risk now, which it should. You can't spam it every play anymore, so if you've been annoyed by that tactic in the past, you're not going to see it this year. Number 5, the flip play spam. This is another one that is more so for an online player. If you've played online, you've noticed that players will flip their formation on offense a lot, and why they do this is because the offense is able to flip and realign quicker than the defense can. And how people would take advantage of this is that they would come out in a play, they would put their hot routes on the play, so they'd put a receiver on a slant, or they'd put a certain receiver on an out route, or whatever combination they had. They would flip the play and the hot routes would still remain, so they could do the hot routes, flip the play, and then hurry up and hike the ball quick, way before the defense could flip the play to match.
Yes, and yes. I can't tell you how annoying that is, constantly having to quick adjust. Like, what I would do is put him on baseline. As soon as I see him motion, baseline, easy, quick baseline. That's why I was always, like I said, I'm a huge defensive player. So I would hurry up and baseline it, so they would just hurry up and back up or do whatever they got to do. Like, baseline literally sets it up to where everyone's on the equal playing ground, and then the 2 inside sub linebackers, whatever linebackers, are staying in the middle. Because when they do that, they'll try to hurry up and put them in motion and start running the fade route, crossing route, sometimes slants, mainly like the posts or out routes and stuff like that. They don't give my defense a chance to do anything, so I had to manually always do it.
Done to combat this is that now when you flip the play, it's kind of the same as resetting your play. If you flip the play, you have to then put your hot routes in over again, which gives the defense a little bit more time to match up with the offense so that you cannot just keep flipping back and forth 3 or 5 times and take advantage of the defense that just cannot flip as fast as you can. If you want an even more in-depth breakdown of...
Hey, that is awesome, bro. I'm not gonna lie, that's awesome. Great explanation, Eric Wayweather, bro. Because I play Madden a lot, and I love to play Madden. Like, Madden to me is just fun because I like football. Now, I play online a lot. I play Ultimate Team, then I play online. I play Ultimate Team, and then I play online. I play a lot. So the fact that they're able to get rid of a lot of these over spams, a lot of the trollers, you're about to see how bad they really are, bro. Because you can tell how bad someone is when you're losing to them because they keep running the same play. Now that we got smarter defenses, bro, scoring's going to be on lock. Scoring's going to be impossible. But yeah, comment down below what's your favorite football team. If you run Ultimate Team or whatever, or if you're going to rock theme teams, if you think theme team or God Squad's a lot better, comment down below. Tell me what you think. It's your boy King Finesse. We out here.